Before we begin, take a moment to slow down. This is not advice. This is not motivation. This is a quiet reflection for moments when life feels heavier than usual, when nothing is clearly wrong, yet everything feels unsettled. If you feel tested, confused, or standing at the edge of something you can't yet see, this reflection is for you. Just listen. Nothing needs to be fixed right now. There is a phase in life that feels heavier than usual. Nothing is clearly wrong, yet everything feels unsettled. You feel pressure without a clear source. You feel tired in ways rest doesn't fix. You feel uncertain, even when life looks the same. This phase often arrives quietly, not as a dramatic breakdown, but as a slow discomfort. A sense that something is shifting, even if you can't explain what. This is often the space before change. Before life moves forward, it tends to test what no longer fits, not as punishment, not as failure, but as preparation. Life tests you by slowing things down, by creating friction, by bringing unresolved feelings to the surface. Things that once felt manageable begin to feel heavy. Routines feel restrictive. Conversations feel empty. Goals feel distant. You start questioning things you never questioned before. Your work, your relationships, your direction, your identity. This questioning is not weakness. It is awareness waking up. Before change, clarity rarely arrives first. Confusion does. Because clarity requires letting go, and letting go is uncomfortable. Life tests you by asking you to sit in uncertainty longer than you want, by removing distractions, by reducing excitement, by creating silence. Silence where your inner voice becomes louder. This is the moment many people try to escape. They numb themselves, they stay busy, they scroll, they distract, they pretend nothing is happening. But the discomfort remains, because it is not meant to be avoided, it is meant to be felt. Life tests you by repeating lessons. You encounter the same emotional patterns, the same frustrations, the same situations in different forms, until you see them clearly, until you stop reacting automatically, until you pause, until you choose differently. This is not coincidence, it is alignment in progress. Before change, life often feels like resistance, not because you are moving backward, but because you are outgrowing what once held you. What used to fit now feels tight. What used to excite now feels dull. What used to make sense now feels shallow. This creates inner tension. Part of you wants comfort. Part of you wants growth. And growth always asks more than comfort is willing to give. Life tests your patience. Progress feels slow. Results feel delayed. Effort feels unnoticed. You wonder if you are doing something wrong. But delay is not denial, and silence is not stagnation. Sometimes nothing moves on the outside because something is reorganizing inside. Life tests your attachments to people, to roles, to expectations, to identities you've outgrown. Things may fall away without explanation. Connections fade, plans change, certainty dissolves. This can feel like loss, but not all loss is meant to be mourned. Some loss is meant to be released. Life tests your trust, not trust in outcomes, but trust in yourself. Can you stay present without knowing the next step? Can you remain grounded without reassurance? Can you listen inward instead of rushing outward? Before change, life removes guarantees, not to leave you unprotected, but to strengthen your awareness. This is where growth deepens, not through achievement, but through understanding. You learn where you rely on control, where you fear uncertainty, where you abandon yourself for stability. Life tests your relationship with discomfort. Do you resist it, or do you learn from it? Discomfort is not the enemy of growth. Avoidance is. Change does not arrive as a sudden transformation. It arrives as readiness. Readiness shaped by patience, by honesty, by discomfort faced instead of avoided. Life tests you by slowing you down so you can see what you are rushing past, your emotions, your needs, your limits. The test is not about endurance, it is about awareness. Can you notice what no longer aligns? Can you release what no longer supports you? Can you soften instead of forcing? Before change, life often feels heavier because you're carrying what you're meant to put down. The test is not to prove strength, it is to teach discernment. What deserves your energy? What deserves your attention? What deserves your commitment? And what does not? When you pass through this phase, not by conquering it, but by understanding it, something shifts naturally. Not dramatically, not loudly, but clearly. You feel lighter, not because life is easier, but because you are aligned. Aligned with what matters. Aligned with yourself, aligned with the direction forming quietly. Change does not always announce itself. Sometimes it simply arrives after you stop resisting the process. If life feels heavy right now, it does not mean you are failing. It may mean you are standing at the edge of change. And the test is not about suffering longer. It is about listening deeper. Awareness is the doorway. Patience is the bridge. And trust is the passage. And change, when it comes, will feel less like arrival and more like recognition, like remembering what was always meant for you. This phase will not last forever. It is temporary, but what it shapes in you will remain. Life tests you before change, not to break you, but to prepare you for what you are becoming.